Okay, hello. We working? We working? Hello, YouTube. Okay, we'll just have to bear with us. We are getting all the other channels set up. So we have equal love for Instagram, Facebook. Yes, yes. Kind of new setup tonight. YouTube good. Instagram good. Facebook good. All right, let's shoot over just a little on this one. Here we go. Is that better? Just scrunching close. Okay. So I am Megan, and I am the blogger behind Allergy Awesomeness. It's a food allergy website, and it is to help people find yummy things to eat that you can still find awesome things even when you're having to omit extra ingredients. And this is...
And I'm Claudia, Megan's husband, father of 3.
That's right. And so we're going to be leaning because the cameras are a little bit more farther away tonight. So hey, Lisa Merrill. Hey, Bex. Thanks for joining us again. You're so good to join us all the time. Allergy-free Mason. Hey. Thanks for giving us waves. Hey, Rydam. Hey, Kylie. Hello. Thanks, guys, so much for joining. And like Claudia mentioned, we have 3 kids. So our oldest has an allergic condition called EOE. And so he has 10 anaphylactic food allergies and then avoids an additional 20. And severe asthma as well. Our second has peanut tree nut allergies, and we have a baby that is, fingers to be decided. So we have definitely been living this food allergy life. And hey, Cooking with Mala. Sorry, I'm probably slaughtering all of your names. You try reading the names. You're better at it. Hey, Kylie. She says she's so excited. She just had her EOE daughter's 5th birthday tonight. Made an awesome allergy-free unicorn cake. Nice. Wow, bravo. Yeah, good job. That's a mother's love right there, going to all that trouble, having to bake from scratch. Send us a picture if you can. I would love to see it. A unicorn cake we have 2 boys, so it is not something that we have really, they've wanted, so I haven't bothered making it, but I would love to see it. Allergy-free Mason says, you were the first food blogger I found when I got my EOE diagnosis, and your gingerbread waffles changed my life. Oh,
those are good, huh?
Thank you. It's a family favorite. You know what's funny is, so I make it, it's my mom requests it every time she comes and stays with us. And so I gave her the recipe, but I gave her like the regular version because she doesn't have food allergies, and I knew she probably wouldn't want to go to the trouble of finding like aquafaba and gluten-free flour. Made it, and she was like, I didn't like it. I actually like it with like the allergen-free ingredients better. So she like can't wait to come every time because then I go ahead and make it for her. So thank you. It's good to know we are not alone in our gingerbread loving life. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, Minty.
Hey, Minty.
An allergy-free Mason.
Yeah. So I love what Kylie did. Thank you, Kylie. We want this not only to be a place of us sharing, but for you guys to tell us what's been going on in your life this week. What's been going on with food allergies. Share your ups, share your downs. We want it to be this community where we get each other, where we talk the same language. I actually spoke at a gluten-free expo this weekend, my gluten-free World Expo. And it was so nice. I had this mom in the audience, and she was like nodding her head to everything I was saying. And I was like, yes, she gets it. She knows what I'm talking about, you know? So
I guess Minty's a street team from India. We're a team from India who are in street food market.
Nice. Very cool. We had a friend live in India for 2 years, and he actually named his daughter India. He loved it so much. So that's very cool. On the bucket list to visit for sure. So thanks for joining us. Sprouts Illustrated, Julian. You read the names. I think my eyes are going blurry.
Julian. We got Miha. And we got Sprouts.
Nice.
Hello.
Nice. So we always like to please keep commenting. We love to hear your comments. We always start off with a tidbit just to see if we have anything in common with our viewers and just to kind of help you get to know us better. Did you think of anything? It's always like the last thing we think of, huh?
I got a haircut last week.
Okay, but tell them how you got a haircut, though.
You mean how?
Who cuts your hair?
I cut my own hair.
He does. I think it's cool.
I've been doing it for 17 years now.
Yeah.
17 plus years. But yeah.
Yeah. I can cut my own hair, and I even sometimes just need like a straight trim, and I'm still terrified to do it.
I was growing my hair out, and I cut my son's hair, and it gave me the itch to cut my own hair.
Yeah,
so
I
cut my own hair.
That's very cool. And do you want to explain why you started cutting your own hair? I think that's interesting.
Well, I started cutting my own hair because it's cheaper that way.
That too. We love frugal living. We are frugal
I mean,
livers.
I liked getting my hair cut once a month, and it costs a lot. And then I moved to Utah,
So that's the one I
and
was thinking of.
at the time there
Right,
were
Kylie?
not
Yeah.
many barbers that could cut multicultural hair, so
Has anyone been to Utah? Raise your hand if
it
you've been to
came
Utah.
even
It's
more
very
handy for me
lucky.
to cut my hair. So
Then get it butchered, huh?
whereas before, I'd get it cut. They would call it a shape up. For those of you who are used to that term, where you go to the barber and they clean it up for you.
Hey, sweet Megan.
That's what I would usually do in the meantime, and then I would just keep it trim at home. But came out here, no one knew what a shape up was. It was either shave all your hair off, and that was it. So decided to do it all on my own.
We are all about if life gives you lemons or there aren't things around you, figure out a way, right? So whether it's food allergies or hair, and I think it looks very nice. So good job. And our boys always look nice. So yeah, he's often having to teach me all about doing mixed hair. So that's a fun topic for another day. We'll stick with the hair theme for the tidbits then. If you guys have followed me long enough, raise your hand if you've been following me for more than like 6 months, because I used to have like pure brown hair. That's my natural color. But I was actually blonde from like 12 to like 25. Like I literally started highlighting my hair. My mom would do it for me back in junior high. I loved being blonde. And then we got married, and again, we were trying to be like frugal, starving students. We were still in college together. So I was like, oh, it's healthier and it's less expensive, but I just missed it too much. So I had to give myself a little Christmas gift and get some blonde back in. So anyways, you do you with your hair color, but if there are not any other stories, and you can always interrupt us, we thought what would be kind of fun for tonight's topic would be just to talk all things parenting. If you've listened to our previous weeks, we usually talk like just specific allergies, and there's like a whole other world to parenting, right? Like there's so much that goes to parenting. And I was just thinking, like, I personally love listening to like parenting webinars, reading parenting articles, and I love seeing how other people do it. Like what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And in no way are we experts, but then when I sit and listen to other people, I'm like, we always have these kind of discussions, right? Like, oh, did you hear so-and-so does this? Or let's try this. That was such a good idea. So we want to share kind of some of our interesting takes on parenting, kind of things that we've learned, and then raise your hand or comment back if you do the same. Maybe you do the opposite. Maybe you found something else works better for you guys. But this is kind of what we found that works. So I was thinking we start at the very beginning. Let's see if you even remember. How long were we married before we had kids?
5 years.
4.
Close enough.
Yes.
4+ years probably.
Yeah.
Rounded up to 5.
Yeah. So we were not all about. I mean, as I mentioned, we were still both in college when we got married, so we definitely weren't in any rush. And we're not going to touch timing. Like you guys, that's a very personal thing. It's what works for you guys. I'd love to hear though, like especially once you start having food allergic kids, when did you guys? How long did you wait? And so on and so forth. So we waited like 4 years, and then there's 2.5 years, and then there's 3 years. So those are our gaps between our 3 kids. And neither of us have food allergies. So it was a shock when our first one had food allergies. In fact, I was going to share, so like when we were in do you remember this? When we were in like the rounds of going through all the hard stuff with EOE, I had wanted like every 2 years to be our spacing. And I literally considered like, should we adopt? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Those discussions. Yeah,
those were hard discussions because it was so bad when he was down to just like 10 foods that he could eat that we were just like, I remember thinking, do I want to put another kid through this? You know? And I was so sad to think that maybe that would be our only biological child, but because it runs in families and it's more likely in boys, and we'd already have one boy. That was like a big hurdle for us to jump over. And do you remember what kind of got us through that? No, you weren't there. For me personally, I remember just feeling like we just had to take that leap of faith and just realizing that like I wanted so badly for him to have another brother. And I thought, oh, well, at least we've been through this trial, right? Like, at least we know how to handle it. And if it comes up, then we'll deal with it. If it doesn't, great. So it was kind of that leap into the dark. But I mean, having kids always is, right?
Yeah.
Were you saying?
I don't think it was that hard, but for me, yes, it was our first child, and there just wasn't enough set in stone for me to be against trying to have another child. So when she says we, it's probably because it was more so her that was concerned. And yeah, she brought it up to me, but I'm not one that gets caught up in the different possibilities, I guess, unless there was, strong empirical evidence. So yeah, we knew with allergies there's a chance. But how big of a chance, we weren't going to know until we tried. So
yeah,
we tried. But yeah, we talked a lot about adopting kids.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Do you want to tell them why we're open to adoption? Why we have a soft spot in our heart for adoption? While I read this.
Well,
share that?
If we want to talk about child rearing and like family culture, I personally am adopted. So when we got married, that was something that was talked about, was me being open to either foster care or adoption as a form of parenting.
Yeah. Yep. We're definitely open to that. And our thoughts on it have changed a lot over the years. Like, currently we're kind of thinking maybe we'll wait till our kids are at the house and then like foster teenagers that need help. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But we definitely think that's a beautiful thing and a beautiful gift. And I don't know, maybe we'll specifically ask for kids that have like dietary issues or, what different kinds of medical conditions, because we'll know how to handle it. So there's definitely life skills you learn, right? Like as you go through these trials that you can help other people. So, and I'm sorry, we've missed a few waves. Hey, Holy Living. Hey, Kimberly Rose. Julian, she said, we had our first son after being married 4 years too. It's a good spacing, agree. And he's allergic to peanuts, eggs, and dairy. Our second boy has no allergies that we know of. That's great. That's so exciting for you. That is so good. I hope it stays that way. And Kylie says her first is 7, no food allergies at all. And then I'm guessing her second, Lila, who turned 5 today, has EOE and multiple food allergies. So yeah, isn't it crazy? I mean, I know one family and literally every other 5 kids has some condition, whether it's EOE, it's in the intestines, it's anaphylactic. So it's just like it's.
Yeah. Some people, the genetic component is very strong.
Oh, and Jennifer, she says, I'm still lost on EOE. Our daughter is 5. Jennifer, feel free to ask specific questions on EOE. We also have a specific EOE only live and an EOE post called A Mother and Son's Journey Through EOE. Hopefully that will help you out. I feel for you. It's very frustrating at the first. And hey, food allergy, RDN. Hey, Magnolia Blossom. Thanks for joining. So speaking of, well, let's go with I like the whole parenting culture thing. So as you all know, is there any husbands and wives listening? That's why I love having him on here, because I think we think very differently, and I think that's typical to a lot of married couples. We're actually atypical in a lot of ways, wouldn't you say?
So I've heard.
I think so, in the sense of
I don't think too much about it, but people point it out.
Yeah, I think we are. I'm much like, sometimes I'm more of a guy, to be honest. Like I'm like, get done, be efficient, blah 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 blah. And sometimes he has to remind me like to slow down and be calm and be sensitive and other things like that. So I don't know if anyone else experiences that. And it's one way or the other, right? And that's that beautiful take of parenting, is co-parenting with someone and you get to figure it out together. But one thing that has been interesting has been our backgrounds. And I think it's influenced everything from like just our general parenting style to like how we handle the stress of food allergies and how we handle those trials. So do you want to kind of talk to like the parenting style you grew up with? Because I think we had quite different growing up backgrounds.
Yeah, quite different. It's funny because last night we were watching a show called Blackish.
Anyone else love it?
For those of you who are aware of that show, it's kind of like a parody on Black African American culture,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of touched upon the stereotypical difference between Black Americans and white Americans, and it makes fun of the differences. But it talked about kind of what my upbringing was like, where there's that strong authority, strong influence,
Not stricter.
a lot strict. People perceive as strict. No such thing as timeouts or even spankings. It's, you get whipped with a belt. And a lot of it was preparation for success. I grew up in the inner city.
That's how they viewed it.
Well, yes, that's how they view it. When growing up in the inner city, where there are
Did you say in Boston?
Black males
Yeah,
or minorities who are either being killed or locked up or taking part in crime, my parental figures felt like they needed to prepare me for that, as far as understanding there's going to be consequences for my choices and actions, as well as establishing rules and guidelines so that I had some type of moral compass or code that would prevent me from certain things. So,
and I think they wanted to help you learn to stay in line. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's no psychology behind it, but I think most people in that circumstance, when they want their kids to survive or to succeed, they pick a stricter type lifestyle to help keep them in line, help them find some sense of success. And so that's how I grew up.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I grew up, so he's inner city Boston, and I'm rural Idaho. So just different in every sense of the word, right? Smaller town, have my aunts, uncles, cousins, grandmas. Oh, hey, Amanda, thanks for joining. So yeah, just very, very different. And I think that's definitely played into the way that we've handled food allergies. I think there's been a strength as far as Claudia learning how to be strict, because it's helped put in regimens and helped our kids realize and be more serious about their food allergies sometimes. But my parents are, I would say, since studying parenting styles, very permissive. I think my dad just loved us to death. It was hard for him to do consequences. And then my mom, I think, wanted to do consequences, but it was really hard for her to enforce. And I was afraid of getting in trouble. So I was a very easy child in the sense of they didn't have to punish me. And it's a good thing because I don't know if they would have, but I was afraid of consequences. So I think kind of I had a lot more relaxed childhood growing up, and it's pretty idyllic, small town, no big issues. And then compared to yours. So it's been interesting merging, but I think it's been nice to see the strengths and the weaknesses of each and kind of be able to try and make both of them work. So someone just mentioned that I'm sorry, the comment's already gone now, but they were saying that their oldest has 25 food allergies and possibly EOE, and her first two, I think she said, were close together. So it's interesting, right? How the spacing works between having kids and which kids end up having them. And that's why we had that whole discussion of how many kids do we have, and are they going to end up all with it? Because our baby, we've been feeding her some of the top allergens, she's been fine, but what if she loses resistance to it later? What if EOE pops up later? We actually had our second scoped to see if he had EOE, and it was negative, but who's to say there's so many adults that get diagnosed with it, so it's just kind of anyone's guess, that's for sure. So Lauren says, I don't know if you remember me, I watched live recently, but haven't been well since. I got diagnosed with a citrus allergy, arthritis, and my granddad passed away. It's been a long 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, Lauren.
Arthritis?
I think that's what it says. Sorry, our cameras are farther away.
Yeah.
Wow, Lauren, we're so sorry. That seems like really, really, really tough weeks. We're glad that you can get on and join us, and we hope that you can have some peace and comfort through this really hard time, and that you can start finding that new normal with the additional allergy. I know there's always that growth process. One of the best things that someone suggested to me, and she's a social worker, she was saying, sometimes you just have to mourn it, mourn the food, you're leaving a friend, because it's something you're used to having in your diet and you're used to having, And I know sometimes I feel like I needed to mourn certain foods that we failed because it's a grieving process. And so I hope by in grieving that and in grieving your grandpa that you can find some strength and courage. And we send you prayer and love. So we're so sorry to hear about that. Okay, so does anyone have any other parenting questions? I did want to say, so just a few, we'll end soon, but I just had some kind of fun, quirky things that we do that aren't always so serious, aren't always so food allergy based, is so every night after dinner, we make them clean up. Like we are firm believers, maybe some of that regimented growing up, that if they're going to make a mess, they should clean it up. And that way, hopefully it'll help them not make a bigger mess next time and teach them the responsibility of if it's your toy, you put it up. And I don't know if any other parents have felt this way, but like, it was like pulling teeth. Like, how long would it take some nights to get them to clean up? Like, forever and a day. I mean, they're going to drag it out.
Hour and a half, depending on 2 hours.
Like, hurry up, clean up, clean up, clean up, clean up, clean up. And all of a sudden, their toys that they didn't want to play with all day are like, so interesting, right? So I was like, okay, I need to boundary this. Like, we are big on boundaries lately. And I have found that, like, as a parent, if I'm getting frustrated, I realize it's because I have not set the expectation clear or I'm not enforcing some kind of boundary. So we love Michael Jackson. Oh, hey, Craig. And did you see that?
What's up, Craig?
And so we're big Michael Jackson fans. Like, it's pretty much playing nonstop in the car, mostly because our middle child, like, has a freak out. Michael Jackson isn't on. And so we want to kind of make it fun, but we want to set that firmer outcome of what would happen. So we give them 2 Michael Jackson songs. So we will turn it on, we'll blast it so they can have some music to clean, because if they're like me, they like to have something to cling to. A little beat helps you move along a little faster. And then there's usually, you know, they can either get a treat if they do it within the 2 songs, or some kind of reward. Oh, no. Sorry, one of our devices is telling us it's got low battery. And you're welcome, Lauren. It's nice. It is hard to add another allergy to the long list. So anyways, hey, Craig. So that's kind of something fun that we do that has worked well for us. And I don't know. So try it. Try it the next time your kids are taking a long time. So instead of saying, you got 5 minutes, because I used to do that. But like for a little kid, they have like no concept of time.
None.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, 5 minutes, you know, but they if they know this Michael Jackson song, you know, You Rock My World, they know the song and when it's going to end, so they can time it and be rushing out the last second. So that's kind of fun. We also, sorry, I wrote a list so I wouldn't forget. Oh, Kylie. She says, I like the idea. Why didn't I think of that? That's why we love talking about parenting stuff, whether it's like allergy specific or other things, because sometimes you're like, right, with parenting. So yeah, tell us what works for you guys. It's so fun to compare and contrast. Yeah, set a timer. Siri sets timers for me nonstop. I swear that's like all I use Siri for. Like, Siri, set a timer. That's what your father, yeah, he was stricter. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, it's okay. We love the England. It's fun, Lauren. She's telling us some different phrases from England, so that's fun. The other thing is we are pretty strict. Wiffle ball bat. What? Sometimes we are pretty strict about our kids' bedtime. When we first had our son, and you know, you're trying to figure everything out. I read Healthy. What is it called? Healthy Sleep Habits, Happy Baby, and it goes a lot into the science of like how much sleep babies need. And I love it because it's like from infant to like teenager, and it breaks it down like how much sleep they need and how much naps they should do, and helps you understand sleep cycles. If you're a newer parent or struggling with sleep, it's like the best book ever recommended, because he's a pediatrician and a sleep scientist. So I feel like a lot of sleep or parenting books, you'll be like, who are you? Like, what authority do you have? Or have you studied this? But this guy's like charts and studies, and it's fascinating. So we always try to start bedtime around 7:30. So that's why we don't do our lives till like 9. But and it takes us still a little while. We try and always cut back, like just brush teeth, just get dressed, just clean up, then prayers, get in bed, but you know, they drag it out. So thank you for staying up late with us, but that's why, because we like to make sure they are officially in bed. Although you've seen Claudia, he's had to like run up when they're still calling for us. But that really works for us. And then another parenting hack, do you want to explain how in the mornings we don't let them out?
So, along with putting kids to bed and getting them to actually sleep, especially as they get older, is getting
thanks,
them
Raquel. That's a good about the timer.
getting them to stay in their room in the morning. Because
Right.
they want to be the
What
last
parent
ones
feels
to go
that?
to bed, but the first ones to wake up. And our boys, they like to get into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They want to ask for stuff. You know, and so
the downstairs will be a wreck if we let them out. But I always laugh because I have friends that'll be like, oh, our kids get up at 6:30, and I'm like, that doesn't mean you have to get up. Nope, Mama, don't play that.
So
we are now morning people.
We set a boundary around that, where they can't leave the room till 8 o'clock. And so even for a while, we had an alarm. Like if your alarm doesn't go off, you guys cannot leave this room or ask or call out for us.
They still call out, but
yeah, and nothing's perfect, but they got used to the idea. Okay, there's a standard, there's an expectation.
Yeah.
We even had locking the door, you know, so where they couldn't come out. Again, it was a reminder.
Yeah, and a lot of that was because they were worried because they have different safe foods that they're going to come down and be hungry and try and feed themselves. So we didn't want that as a concern either.
Yeah. So we did that as well, but for the most part, they know that they can't leave the room. So they'll usually ask.
Doesn't mean you get to like roam the house and make messes.
Yeah. They'll usually ask.
They're
if they're awake before us to leave the room.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how we usually handle the morning. So we usually give them to 8 o'clock, and depending if they've slept well or not, you know, we might extend that to 8:30.
Yeah, or earlier if like we're already up and they've gotten a good sleep. Hey, Shauna, thanks for joining. And with that, so we try to not keep a ton of toys in the room just so it's not a distraction when it's nap time or bedtime that they want to play. But we do keep books in there. We keep all their costumes. They've got a ton of superhero costumes. And it's actually really fun. Like sometimes, because my husband usually works nights, so that's why we're both home in the mornings. And it's fun to just sit there and listen to them and the little games that they've come up with. And I think it's actually really helped them bond. They share a room. And just to hear their little conversations and their imagination, I'm like, I love it because there's no screens, there's no devices, and it allows them to just play and just spend the morning together. And it's worked out really good for us. So that's one thing we really like. Yes, Craig says routine. Unfortunately, I have to get up with them, but they'll start sleeping in. Yeah, definitely. Craig's got older kids, so he's been there, done that. We know Craig. Dang, that sounds wonderful, right, Kylie? Nice. Do it. It'll change your life. It will change your life. Because I just felt like, I mean, sometimes they whine a little bit, like, is it 8 o'clock yet? But for me, because I stay up working really late, it was like, I felt like they got a nicer mom from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. than if I got up early just because they chose to. And then I was grouchy or I was really tired by the end of the day, or I was upset going in to get them. So I just feel like our mornings start off on a brighter note if they start on that. And of course, like it adjusts with school and other things, but for the most part, that works really, really well for us. Yeah. And then we'll go ahead and do the last thing, unless you guys have any other questions or comments, because we love hearing what other parents do and how they handle it. But one thing that is a little different with us is we are like not about devices for our kids. Granted, they are still young, but we do not have any type of gaming or Nintendo systems in our house. We don't have a smart TV. Now, Grant, do you want to explain what happened to our smart TV? This was not all us, our decision.
Our kids have broken our TV. They've broken 2 of our TVs.
2 flat screens.
Chucking toys at them.
Our boys think everything is a ball. Like, they think like a big transformer is a ball, and they can just throw it. And
that was between them being the ages of 2 and 4. Mm-hmm. Our oldest is 6 now, but yeah, so they broke into TVs. So that, and our second one was a smart TV.
Yeah. So I mean, we did at one point have Netflix, you know, the streaming and everything, and then it was just so easy for me to turn it on, and then they're always asking for it, and so we got like this, like, you know, it's like this deep TV. It's like I don't know if I could lift it myself.
Back-breaking TV that it's like top or front heavy when you're trying to move it.
It's super big, and so
it has a DVD and a VHS on it.
But obviously no streaming. We don't have cable, so yes, to minimizing devices, right. I mean, so it's just nice because we only have like maybe 10 options between VHS. We've had to like go to like a Salvation Army to find VHSs.
Or the library.
Yeah. And DVDs. And so they get kind of bored of them. So it's like, oh, you can watch The Sandlot again, you know, but it's nice because then they're not tempted to watch something all the time. And I just found that it was like that, like getting over the hump of like, oh, we don't have as much TV options, and they whine about it. But then like we just found they were playing so much more. They were outside more. They were using their toys more. They're using their imagination. They were playing together more instead of, you know. And that's not to say it's still not an argument. Like we still, they'll like they, you know, it's amazing how many times they'll watch Ice Age. You know, it's crazy. eBay through VHS. Yes, that's a great idea. So I'm cheap. They're on shipping and handling for VHS. Oh, I don't know. We can get them for like a quarter at our local VI, and it's fun because I'll let them earn a quarter, and then they can go pick out what movie they want. So we're all about cheap thrills at our house. But anyways, I don't know. We read so many articles. My friend that's a therapist was just saying like how bad TV is for them right now, and we agree. And it's just been so wonderful. And so we know like a lot of their friends have tablets and other devices.
Well, it's I don't know. I guess we are older. We were both born in the 80s, and so I just think of my childhood. I think of my childhood and what it was like before the internet and cell phones. And so, especially having boys, I think it's important that they have a lot of outside time, that children get to use their imagination, creativity. And we have really creative kids. Mm-hmm. So we want to support them in that and help culture that. And so a lot of that too is how we grew up. Was, you know, we're not I don't know, I guess 90s/early 2000 children. Like we knew what it was like before all this technology. So
sorry guys.
It's also odd for me to imagine my child having a cell phone before the age of 21 when I didn't have a cell phone after I was 21. Those type of things I can't take in yet. We have all these little gadgets and electronics that are not like a remote control car or a robot or a helicopter, things that I grew up with.
Yeah. So. And we find that, like, at least for me, my kids, even though it gives you that peace and quiet, like, I'm all about, like, if I got to work, I'll turn on a movie. If I got to make dinner, you know, you try and time it when it works for you and give them some screen time. But I find if I let them watch a lot, like, they're cranky. Yeah. And it's just, like, all that pent-up energy. And so for us, we're like, go outside.
Their mind gets zoned out, but they don't use up any energy.
Yeah, and we agree, Kylie. Like, yeah, it's like a foreign world trying to explain to your kids, like, we grew up so different, you know, like they just can't even picture it. But I think it's worth the fight, and it's worth, you know, but my friends have iPads and we let them play it when they go at their friends' houses. Like, I don't want my kid to not know how to do something, and they have iPads at school. But as far as like investing in that and having that in our home, I feel like we have enough fight over VHSs and DVDs to want to even touch any of that stuff. And honestly, like, I don't think we're going to let our kids get smartphones. Can wait till they're out of the house, because I just feel like so many kids just misuse them. Freaks me right out. So anyways.
Yeah, I get the whole lot of toys. And yeah, I'm sure it's tough when you have divorced parents. You gotta have toys at one place and then toys at another place.
You can't, you don't have that control, right? And so like all you can do is control what happens there. And hopefully you and the co-parent have a good relationship, or maybe you could bring up concerns with them. But I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
Our most consistently used toys are now Legos. My boys really love Legos.
Man, the mileage you've gotten out of those things. In fact, our baby swallowed a Lego just the other day. So speaking of good parenting, don't worry, it was little. Pediatrician said she's fine. But yeah, so that's been a fun thing. We're all about sharing our good times and our bad times, right? Yes. So no devices, but swallowing Legos. We do that. Anyways, we are going to go ahead and close tonight, you guys, because our phone is beeping at us. But thank you so much for joining us. It's so fun to talk about parenting, especially, I don't know, you tend to surround yourself in like similar circles, right? So it's like we've got like our Utah, same age group, parents. And so it's fun. It's so fun to talk to like someone from England, someone from Wisconsin, someone from Idaho, someone from Boston. So we appreciate you guys. Oh, yep. I gotcha. Yep, 6 different Christmases. So she has a whole bunch of in-laws, and yeah, it's hard. Cousins, aunts, uncles. Yeah, to kind of boundary that or to have those kind of discussions. So, yes. So thank you guys for joining us. Just a heads up, we are going to. Can I see comments over there? I can't see it very good. Yeah. I have got. You're welcome for your Easter brunches, an egg-free, dairy-free frittata. It's amazing and crazy. Claudia had one tonight. My son had 2 after school. Like, I was a little nervous how it was going to taste, and it looks beautiful, and it tastes so good. So be looking for that. I'll be posting that tomorrow. And thanks, you guys, for tuning in. Be sure to tell your other allergy-friendly family and friends, and we will see you next Monday. Thanks, guys.